it says in Wikipedia that you began training in 1992, but you didn't start using the pedigree until you were performing for WCW in '94.
The first time I did the pedigree was actually at Kowalski's.
Okay, gotcha.
And it's funny because I've actually now seen, which was only in the last year or two, I've seen a clip of Andre the Giant doing a very similar move.
Really?
Where he, the guys in the old days used to do the move where they put the guy's head between their knees and jump up and
oh, sure.
jar their neck, right?
Yeah.
But Andre did it in Japan with Inoki, where he held his arms and dropped to his knees, and Inoki took like a pile driver.
Okay.
But I had never seen that. It was only up until a couple of years ago when I saw that for the first time, and wow, that's really cool. How I just came to it was that exact thing. Kowalski used to do the thing where you put the guy's head there and jump, and the guy would take a bump out of it. And he was showing it to somebody one day, and I hated that move just because I thought it looked hokey. And but he was showing it to somebody at the camp, and I was like, hey, man, if you went down with that, it's like a face first kind of pile driver thing, that would actually be kind of cool. And then I started thinking about it. I was like, you kind of have to poke a guy's arms or something, right? So I just started messing around with it there. And but it's one of those things, like when you're trying to figure it out and nobody could figure out how to do it, as I was trying to figure it out, and guys would always complain dude, I just smashed my entire face, so trying to figure it out. I started using it a little in WCW because I felt like it was different and no one had ever seen it. Sure. And the first couple of times that I did it, when I would come back, people were like, what's that one thing you did that was really cool? When I came up to WWE at the time, they changed my character to the stuff. Originally, they wanted me to use the RKO, like a version of...
Oh, a cutter, yeah.
Yeah. And it was what they were just like, hey, how about this as a finish? Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, and Dallas Page called me very upset.
Really?
Yeah, and I was like, Dallas.
Oh, no.
He
knows he didn't invent the cutter, right?
Yeah, no, he does, but he, it's Dallas, and Johnny gave it to him.
Okay.
So, but there was a couple of matches that I did with enhancement guys where it didn't look good, and I came back and was like, man, that thing just sometimes it's hit or miss, and they were like, yeah, you're right. Is there anything else you can do? So that next day when we were at TV, I went to the ring in the afternoon, just grabbed a guy and showed him the pedigree, and they were like, oh, that's so much better. Let's do that. So then that became the thing, and I would just work with guys in the afternoon on making sure they could take it right. And then Michael Hayes is the one that named it because my character was a blue blood.
Sure.
Michael Hayes was in the company, and Michael Hayes was like, hey, man, what if you called that the pedigree? You know what I mean? Like you're giving some guys pedigree. It worked for me.
It said that you left for WWE in January 1995 after WCW turned down your request to be promoted as a singles competitor.
No, that's false.
That's false, okay.
So when I went to WCW, they offered me a multi-year deal. This is one of those things where you look back now and go I can't believe I had the balls to do that. It was for very little money, which won't sound like it was very little money now, but it was for 50 grand. But at that time you paid all your own expenses, and I was on the road a lot.
Gotcha.
So I was losing a lot of money wrestling. Mm-hmm. So by the time I got to the end, man, I was broke. But when they first offered me the contract, I was like, man, it's not a lot of money. And Bischoff was like, well, I'm not paying you more money. And I was like, all right, well, it's a multi-year deal. What if I just did 1 year? And he was like, so I'm offering you multi-years, you just want to sign one? It's kind of a dumb decision. I said, look, here's how I look at it. Let me wrestle for you for a year. At the end of the year, you're either going to know I'm worth a lot more than 52 grand, or I ain't worth keeping. Things were such a mess there.
Sure.
And even Nitro hadn't started yet, but you could see the mess coming. And everybody that had come there or gone to WCW from New York, WWE, was like, if I was asking anybody, my contract's coming up, anybody that had been up here was like, dude, get out of here. Go up there, Vince will make you a star. I came up and met with Vince. First meeting with him, I don't think he knew who I was. I think somebody had just asked him to take the meeting, and he wasn't. I left thinking well, I guess they weren't that interested in me. I wrestled Starrcade. It was my first pay-per-view ever. I wrestled Alex Wright at Starrcade.
Okay.
They got Vince on the phone, and then Vince said, hey, I saw you at Starrcade yesterday. I want you to come here. And now he was what I wanted him to be. He was like, I want you to come here. I think you're a talented kid. I'm not offering you any spot. I'm offering you a spot. I don't guarantee money, but I had told him when I came in, I'm not interested. It's not about the money for me. I want to work every day. I want to work with the best. I want to be the best.
Yeah.
And he said, I promise you this, you'll work here every single day. You'll work with the best guys in the business. And if you want to get great, this is where to do it. That was all I needed to hear. I said, no,
There you go.
tell me when I start.